Before we get into the video, I just want to note that I bought this guy a couple days ago. I'm only bringing this up because there's like a 1 in 2 chance of his episode happening next. I know this has nothing to do with the matchup in question, but I couldn't think of an opening skit in time. Let's just get on with the video. Hey everyone, Brobuscus here, and welcome back to another Let's Watch of Death Battle. Today's episode, at long last, it's been probably the most hyped I have ever been for this season so far. It is Dio Brando versus Alucard. I'm so excited for this one. I am a huge fan of this matchup. I'm a huge fan of these characters. Okay, maybe not. Okay, maybe not a huge fan. I like Dio a lot. I'm a huge fan of Dio. I'm not really. I like to consider myself a fan of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, but maybe not a huge fan. I haven't read the manga. I haven't kept up with the anime. I've seen up to parts 1 through 3, and I kind of like was in and out with 4, and then kind of stopped at 5. Like I watched bits of 5, and I was like, I'm done. Not that 5 was bad, I just kind of lost interest. Maybe I'll get back into it. Parts 1 through 3, I absolutely adore. And Dio is my favorite JoJo villain. Like, no questions asked. Obviously, watching up to part 4, I only really know up to Kira. So it's really Dio, Kira, and Cars. I was never really a big fan of Cars. And Kira was okay, but he just didn't have the same impact to me as Dio did. Maybe it's because he appeared in 2 parts. I don't know. And as for Alucard and as for Hellsing, I've seen the original Hellsing. I thought it was boring. I fell asleep partway through. I am in the middle of a binge watch for Hellsing Ultimate. I'm on like episode 5, I believe. I was trying to watch it last night, but I fell asleep. I was tired. But I really do like Alucard. He seems like a really entertaining character. So obviously I am going to be going into this with probably a bit of spoilers for Hellsing Ultimate, but whatever. So yeah, I really like both these characters, and I really like this matchup. I'm super happy that this is a thing. Liam is getting his dream fight right after Chad got his, so that's a little funny to me. And okay, I'm just gonna get this out of the way. I want to make sure I line this up properly. So here we go. Just there. I'm ready for Dio. Like I said, I like Alucard, but I prefer Dio. I just prefer JoJo's in general. And as for who I think is going to win, well, it sounds like it should be pretty obvious to the casual and Twitter audience, but apparently, yeah, because apparently from my searching through YouTube and Twitter, it is apparently an unpopular opinion to say that Dio is absolutely going to win this fight. Yeah, I'm going for Dio here. I think the main question here, it isn't so much can Alucard overpower and outpace Dio, because the answer to that question is an easy no. Dio is much stronger, much faster. The question here is, can Dio kill Alucard? Because Alucard's regeneration is absurd. So people like to bring up level 0. But the way I see it is that I'm gonna try and save a lot of my discussion for later if if this analysis ends up confirming what I had already thought. Yeah, I think level 0 is kind of a double-edged sword. Because, like, yeah, it brings out all of Alucard's familiars to fight for him, but it also sacrifices his immortality. I think there was a panel in the Hellsing manga where someone said, like, it's his familiars. That's what that's what causes that's what causes his insane like regeneration and immortality. And he's got like millions of them. So the dude's packing for sure, but I just think Dio's better speed, the time stop on top of the already better speed, the world just not being. I don't think Alucard has a way of seeing or affecting the world. I've heard some like ghost thing for Alucard, like he like has experience against ghosts. Stands aren't ghosts, and like JoJo characters have experience against ghosts as well, and they can see them just fine, but ghosts can't see stands. So to me, that just feels like more of an argument to be made for Alucard not being able to see stands and therefore can't see the world. I've also heard Alucard has like regeneration negating bullets, but they only work through silver. Like they're silver tipped, which is a huge weakness against vampires in Hellsing. But this is a vampire in JoJo's that they don't have the same rules. Dio once got stabbed to the head by Silver Chariot and did nothing. I guess it's not really confirmed if it's made out of silver, but like, why else would it be called Silver Chariot? Yeah, like the only thing I could see working in Alucard's favor here is I mentioned before his regeneration, but also he probably has better experience. But like I don't think regeneration is enough of an argument to win a fight. Like yeah, it makes you borderline unkillable, but like depending on how good your regeneration is, of course. But, if that's all you've got going for you, then eventually, like, there's gonna come to a point where your regeneration is just gonna, like, delay the inevitable. Like, not really delay the inevitable, but, like, the way I see it, obviously Death Metal might disagree with me, but the way I see it is if your regeneration is all you have going for you, and, like, statistically you are vastly inferior, then I don't see that as a good enough argument for you to win. Like eventually, I don't know. Maybe there's gonna come to a point where like Alucard's regeneration it will heal him over time, but maybe I don't quite remember how Alucard's regeneration works, to be fair. But like if there comes to a point where it's like an overtime thing, I don't know if it is, but just bear with me. Then eventually he's just gonna get to that point. He's gonna be rendered unable to fight. He might not be dead, but he can't do anything. So that's a win for Dio right then and there. I guess I should also probably mention I seriously do not think they're going to include stuff like The World Over Heaven or Schrodinger. And if I'm not going to explain much of it right here and now. I'll probably do that later. But Over Heaven should be obvious, but it's more so in Schrodinger. If it's not mentioned here, then I really don't see much of a reason to explain why I think it's not going to get included, because it's obviously not going to. But if it is brought up and if it is being factored in, then I will probably explain what my thought process was. But right now, I'm already over 10 minutes in. But all right, yeah. I'm gonna stop delaying. I've been looking forward to this fight for far too long. I'm rooting for Dio. I think he's going to win. Let's watch this episode and see if I'm right. Bit of a delay there. Okay, whatever.
Dio Brando, everlasting adversary of the Joestar bloodline.
Alucard, undying enforcer of the Hellsing Organization.
Vampires, the spawn of nightmares formed from the blackest pits of man's demented
Hey, Dracula.
imagination. Anime. Basically the same thing. What do you get when you combine them? Two of the meanest monsters out there. He's Wiz.
Ain't that the truth?
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle. Imagine, if you can, someone so wicked that the
Dio!
of their unholy dickishness literally destroyed the universe. You might think they'd have to be no less than the devil himself, but it was him, Dio. Born a penniless street rat with a cunning mind in the slums of Victorian London, Dio was humiliated by his poverty.
He has 4 sons? What in the world?
His bitter resentment and small
It was down too long. It was down too long in the Midnight Sea.
For ultimate power and immortality to reach a place
Lasted over 100 years down there.
Get his chance to act when he was adopted into the wealthy Joestar family. Dio planned to kill his new father, George Joestar, and take his fortune for himself.
This
Only
art is
one
weird.
thing stood in his way: his new brother, Jonathan Joestar, aka JoJo. Dio tried to go all alpha wolf on JoJo by engaging in such classic sibling pranks as beating him up, molesting his girlfriend, and setting his dog on fire. Jesus! You give that
Sheesh.
creepy dog murderer what for, JoJo?
Yeah, he
After
absolutely
years
deserved
of
that.
Emotional manipulation, Dio's twisted assassination plot was foiled by his righteous stepbrother. With help from the interfering Speedwagon, all seemed lost until Dio pulled out his Plan B, an ancient stone mask that turned him into a vampire. That's
Yep.
just bizarre. Okay, so he's not technically
Well, it's called
a vampire
JoJo's
like
Bizarre Adventure,
Dracula.
so I
Instead
mean...
of turning you into an unholy demon, the stone mask eliminates your body's natural limitations, making him way stronger, faster, and tougher than any human. He can hear a heartbeat through the ground, fly through the air, and hypnotize you with just a glance. It gets weirder. Dio
Yeah.
can create mind-controlling flesh buds from his hair follicles, vaporize the moisture in his body to freeze anything he touches, and fire beams of pressurized fluids that can split the sky. Pressurized fluids? Oh, sometimes it's too easy, Wiz. Even more insane is Dio's healing factor. He's been burnt alive, impaled through the head, bisected, decapitated, lost limbs, filled with bullets, and had a huge hole punched in his chest not once, not twice, but 3 times. Another similar vampire, Straight, survived being blown to pieces and just pulled himself back together. All Dio needs is some blood to speed up the process, so he is basically a vampire. Though I guess the fangs are just for decoration because he sucks blood through his fingers.
Yeah.
Ugh. Dio used his powers to raise a zombie army to conquer the world and feed a baby to its own mother.
We don't need to talk about that.
I've met a lot of real pieces of shit on this show, Wiz, but I'm starting to think Dio takes the cake. Luckily, his plans were foiled.
Do you not
again
remember
by his
Eobard's
old
song?
enemy JoJo, who beat Dio's ass with a martial art that uses the power of the sun, Hamon. Because, should Dio's vampire body be subjected to sunlight, he will instantly disintegrate. So, what did Dio do? Well, he cut off his own head, killed Jonathan on his wedding night, and attached his head to JoJo's body. Wow, cake taken for sure. After a brief century in a coffin at the bottom of the ocean, Dio resurfaced in Egypt and tried once
there we
again
go.
to take over the world. His ultimate goal was to create a world where everyone knew their own fate and could make peace with the inevitable tragedies life had in store. In Dio's mind, heaven. And he'd make it happen no matter how many breads he'd have to eat. After being struck by a mystical arrow, sure, why not, Dio gained a stand, the embodiment of a user's life force. Since they're made of psychic energy, stands can only be seen by stand users, and can only be hurt by other stands. Quite the obstacle for any opponent lacking similar abilities. Hey, look, Wiz, I got a stand! I call it 99 bottles! Oh, shit, don't worry, Wiz, I'll change you back with your Ooh, look, a giant beer!
Good lord.
As befits a god among men, Dio received
Okay.
the most powerful
Boomstick has a
ability
stand now.
The World, with its ability to stop time. Time, huh? Thanks for the ow!
Well, not only does his blade stuff get longer with each use, he can spam it as much as he likes.
That's the thing.
He's
It gets
a
longer
massive
every
troll.
time he
The
uses it.
world is absurdly strong and fast, able to match the stand Star Platinum, which belongs to Jonathan's great-great-grandson, Jotaro Kujo. He technically inherited it from Dio through Jonathan's body and bloodline, making Star Platinum and the world the same stand.
And both are two of the strongest stands out there, just as strong as Stone Free, which can punch meteors that were pulled to Earth in seconds.
By measuring the distance the meteors are from Earth, we can estimate they were moving at over 11 million meters per second. Factoring in their mass, they'd each have a kinetic energy of 441 kilotons of TNT.
Not that crazy when you can throw punches that are faster than light. No, really, Star Platinum kept up with this stand, Silver Chariot, which could cut a beam of light.
Looking at the interval Silver Chariot's sword swung relative to the light beam, it must have moved over 1,500 times the speed of light. And Dio himself has matched Star Platinum on his own, and taken its punches head on.
Yeah, but that's nothing compared to Dio's secret weapon, the greatest weapon in anime history. The Steamroller! Turns out Dio's a hell of a chef. He can make pancakes and donuts.
Even so,
Wow.
despite having a massive god complex, Dio's still a careful tactician capable of exploiting an opponent's weaknesses.
Too bad
Yep.
he wasn't prepared for Jotaro to learn how to stop time too and murder the shit out of him. That's some hardcore karma right there. But it only
Totally.
makes sense that a dog murderer would die like a bitch.
But much like the machinations of great and terrible men, Dio's will was immortal. In time,
Yeah.
his greatest follower succeeded in extinguishing the Joestar bloodline and literally remaking the universe in Dio's image, creating that heaven he always dreamed of.
I guess when you're named after a rock star, a movie star, and, oh, that's right, God, you're pretty much bound for greatness.
You thought your first kiss would be JoJo, but it was I, Dio!
They had to end it like that. Okay.
How blessed are some people whose lives have no fears, no dreads. For though the world seems full of good men, there are monsters in it.
But don't
Yep.
worry, jolly old England has it covered with the Hellsing Organization.
Founded by famous vampire hunter Abraham Van Helsing and led by his descendant Integra,
Sir Integra.
this secret government institution has saved the world time and again with their secret weapon.
And what better weapon to hunt vampires than with one of their very own, the no-life
Yep.
king, the bird of Hermes, Alucard.
To most, his origin was shrouded in mystery.
Super 600 years
Helsing's
old.
employ, he was molded into an elite hunter.
Was a little
made
girl
even
during
more
World War
vicious
II.
By his
It's
intense
true.
hatred of his fellow vampire kind.
A hatred that he expresses with two of the gnarliest handguns you'll ever pray to your infinite god to never see in person.
Alucard's primary sidearm is the Castle.
Castle.
A behemoth of a handgun able to kill most undead in one shot with holy bullets that can nullify a vampire's healing factor.
The Jackal is the handgun she told you not to worry about. 16 inches long and weighing 35 pounds. Its armor-piercing, hollow-point bullets, jacketed in blessed Macedonian silver, were built to annihilate the toughest monsters.
And after decades of clandestine experimentation, Helsing enhanced
Jesus, editing is
Alucard's
nuts.
vampiric abilities far beyond the norm.
Alucard can walk through walls, cast illusions, levitate, and move objects with his mind. Objects like, say, an ocean of over 3 million people's blood? That'd be an energy worth half a ton of TNT.
His psychic prowess allows him to read minds, communicate telepathically, hypnotize with a glance, and see through hallucinations with his third eye.
He's not a Triclops. It's more of a sixth sense that lets him hit bullseyes from a kilometer away and even predict your movements. Kinda like the Sharon gun.
Of course, he
Little
wouldn't
bit.
be a real vampire if he couldn't drink blood. The catch is, when he drinks enough blood to kill you, he literally absorbs your soul. And that right there is the source of his most fearsome ability.
You just can't kill the sumbitch. Shoot him into Swiss cheese, blow his ass to smithereens, turn him into a literal blood puddle. He'll just regenerate his body lickety-split. Like, we've seen some overpowered healing factors on this show before, but Alucard's is just bullshit.
Yeah.
While he does possess blood and organs like a regular human, Alucard's body is, in reality, composed of an ethereal, shadow-like substance that he can morph any way he wants. This allows him to shapeshift and instantly heal any wound, and each soul Alucard has consumed acts as an extra life that he can spend whenever he's fatally injured. Kind of like a video game.
And after
Little
500
bit.
years of unlife, Alucard has consumed literally millions of souls. Ora! Yay, more
Oh.
beer!
Just like me.
Ora! Hellsing needed a beast as fearsome as Alucard to take on Millennium, aka Nazi vampires. That's like evil
That's literally what they are.
Millennium SS Lieutenant Rip Van Winkle commandeered a British aircraft carrier as part of an invasion of London.
Alucard didn't like that very much, so he jackknifed it with an SR-71 Blackbird at Mach 3.
A fully loaded Blackbird weighs 170,000 pounds, meaning it struck with a kinetic energy of 11 tons of TNT. That's as powerful as the US Massive Ordnance Air Blast.
AKA the mother of all bombs. And Al was in the middle of that and strolled out like it was nothing.
Just as impressive as intercepting Rip's magic bullets. Comparing the distance one bullet moved to the jet in the same time frame as the jet's own movement, each bullet would have to be moving at 1,500 times the speed of sound.
And Alucard caught one with
That's-
his friggin' teeth.
that's pretty good.
And after giving Rip's name a new meaning, he drove that aircraft carrier back to shore with his mind to fight two separate armies at the same time. What a goddamn monster!
It goes without saying that Alucard's immense power and bloodlust needed to be controlled, so 6 restriction levels were placed on him that he can release against dangerous opponents.
Levels 6 through 2 are for wrecking your ordinary ghouls. Level 1 is for your heavy-duty vampires, and for getting this gnarly demon doggo made from his shadow essence, Baskerville.
But there
Yep.
exists an even greater state of power Alucard can release when he wants to end the world.
Level 0.
0.
Once activated, Level 0 releases every single soul Alucard has consumed as a sea of blood-soaked zombies. All 3 million of them.
Sure, with his souls gone, he can't heal as easily, and if his heart is destroyed, he'll die permanently. But the sheer numbers and power of this army from hell makes him virtually impossible to approach in the first place.
He's unstoppable. This guy's got to be like the king of all vampires.
Indeed, he is. Hellsing purposely kept Alucard's true identity a secret, all in the codename. Alucard backwards is
Dracula?
Dracula.
Yeah, duh, Wiz, idiot.
over 500 years ago. The Wallachian Voivode Vlad Dracula battled the Ottoman Turks for control over Eastern Europe and impaled thousands of people in the process. Hence his
Yikes.
historical name, Vlad the Impaler.
But things didn't end up too good for him. Right before his execution, he took a big old sip of some blood from the battlefield, sacrificing his humanity in order to become an immortal creature of the night.
And that is when the legend was born. But it wasn't anything Dracula was proud of. He grew to despise his monstrous nature and saw it as cowardice. The main reason he hated other vampires so much was that he really hated himself.
Oh, that's deep, Wiz. Maybe that's why he always lets his enemies rip into him like a pinata of self-loathing. His crazy
Yeah, this
OP
dude just
healing
takes
factor
the
will fix
hit.
everything anyways.
Millennium would exploit this arrogance by tricking Alucard into absorbing the soul and
Oh,
abilities
there's
of
Schrodinger.
a German cat boy who controls his own quantum state. This grants him pseudo-omnipresence and immortality. He can exist everywhere and nowhere, and cannot die so long as he can recognize his own existence.
But because Al had 3 million souls kicking around inside him, Schrody couldn't recognize himself anymore, forcing him, and thus Alucard, to fade out of existence.
So Alucard spent 30 years killing the other 3 million souls inside of him until he could return to reality and his master. He undid his own unexistence.
No matter how spoopy the threat, Alucard will show no mercy. He's just waiting for the
Didn't
day
quite
he meets
answer
a
how
noble
much it's gonna
human
play into
warrior
factor,
strong
though.
enough to end his unlife for good.
But should he face a fellow monster, a fool who rejected their humanity like himself, he'll let loose the dogs of war, and all hell will sing.
I'm a dog. Then you're dog food.
All right, the combatants are set, and we've run the data through all possibilities.
It's time for a death battle. And pause. Okay. So I will admit, the 1,500 times the speed of sound thing caught me off guard. It's not nearly as fast as Dio, but it just comes back down to what I was saying earlier. The only way I could see Alucard winning this is if they argue that his regeneration is enough to overpower, is enough to last long enough for Dio to either tire out or for the sun to rise. I think that's a cop-out argument, but you know, whatever. So really, this analysis didn't really do much to like answer any questions I had, or like it more so confirmed what I already knew, but didn't answer any questions I had. Like the thing with Schrodinger at the end, was that meant to like wrap up Alucard's story, or like, because they did the same thing with Tommy back with Dragon Sword vs Mechagodzilla. They mentioned the Master Morpher, and that never showed up in the fight. So, I think I'm gonna stick with Dio. I'll admit I'm a tad more nervous than I used to be, but I'm still gonna stick with him. So okay, before we get into the fight, I should mention, as always, I saw the preview in Death Metal Cast. What else is new? And I do know both of the voice actors. It is Tom Schalk, whatever, as Dio, and Curtis Taka as Alucard. Curtis or not, Takata 101. You know the guy. And you know him as Alucard. The preview is like a minute of the fight, so that's kind of exciting. We still have like, we still have over 8 minutes to go. I'm excited. I'm excited for this. And I did listen to the music on its own. And it's really good. The track is called Hell Over Heaven, which is amazing. But it's a really good track. I like it a lot. So I'm excited to see how it plays into effect. I'm excited to see how it plays into the fight. I'm excited to see this fight as a whole. I've been really looking forward to this. So to recap, I'm rooting for Dio. You can see it on the screen. I'm rooting for Dio. I think he's going to win. If Alucard does win, I'm going to be surprised a little bit. They would have to explain it to me to help me like understand. And I guess we'll just see and then we get to see what happens next. So with that out of the way, we have a fight to watch. So let's watch this fight. I've been really looking forward to this. 3, 2, 1, play. Oh, and I got to hear this with sound. I only heard the voice acting and the music. There were no sound effects.
You interrupted my dinner.
Funny, I was just thinking about having mine.
Then by all means, take a bite.
Wow. I'm glad we don't see the time stop through Alucard. I'm glad we see the time stop through Alucard's perspective to start.
You thought you'd triumph, but it was I. Dio?
Ow. Oh, I forgot to mention, this is where the preview stops.
Dog? Yo, dog poop.
Nothing.
I'm gonna enjoy hearing you scream.
There's the world. Jeez. Whoa.
What the hell are you?
A real fucking vampire.
Ow. Wow. I love the blood look. That's awesome.
You want blood, you disgusting monster? Choke on your own.
Why did he bite the... Oh!
I want to rule the world!
What's happening?
Face me, Vampire King! Bow to your new god!
The bird of Hermes is my name, eating my wings to make me tame.
Time stop. Oh, that's a cool shot. Yes! Let's go, Dio.
Alucard pulled out all the stops, but like the bloody drink, it was in vain. Finger guns.
He may have been the king of the vampires in Hellsing, but Dio had everything he needed to clip the bird of Hermes' wings.
Alucard's strategy in most fights is to heal from an opponent's attacks until they get tired, then take advantage of an opening. But he couldn't do that here because Dio didn't really have any openings, and Alucard wasn't nearly as strong or as fast to compensate.
Alucard could survive crashing that jet and move 1,500 times faster than sound. But scaling from Stone Free and Silver Chariot, the world could punch relativistic meteors and move 1,500 times faster than light. That would make Dio nearly 40,000 times stronger and 800,000 times faster than Alucard.
Yikes.
Hell, Alucard couldn't even see or hurt the world in the first place because he's not a stand user. And since stone mask vampires from JoJo aren't weak to holy weapons like Hellsing vampires are, Al's guns were more or less dead weight.
Plus, Alucard just had no way to get past the time stop. Even if he did somehow, Dio could just freeze him on contact.
And considering Dio has taken punches from Star Platinum, Hal would have had trouble doing damage even if he got the chance.
Dio's far greater speed and power meant that, given enough time, he could realistically kill Alucard 3 million times in quick succession. Without any viable options for attack or openings to exploit, Alucard's soul-based regeneration meant he would run out of lives eventually, and level 0 only sped up that process.
Sure, that army's nothing to scoff at, but consider the time Dio's eye beams split those huge-ass clouds.
Estimating the size of the clouds and the speed at which they moved, Dio's beams must have output an energy of over 10 megatons of TNT, enough to wipe out Alucard's army in one go, leaving him vulnerable. Just like when this other vampire, Walter, could have killed him by piercing his heart. Alucard's even admitted it himself.
Hell, Alucard's army is filled with blood. You know, that thing that Dio uses to heal? But Wiz, what about Schrodinger? With his powers,
Here we
he
go.
can't die unless he chooses to.
While Schrodinger's quantum immortality makes him impossible to kill normally, it is literally part of the story that Alucard cannot have Schrodinger's abilities and his greater array of powers at the same time, or else he'll no longer exist. We can't give him both Schrodinger and his standard powers without breaking the lore and rules of the character.
Even if we did, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't help him kill Dio at all, so at best it'd be a stalemate. Until Dio hypnotizes Alucard, asks him about his powers, and forces him to eject Schrody like the rest of his souls.
Shocking though it may be, Dio's overwhelming offense, impenetrable defense, and uniquely devastating abilities wore Alucard down until the no-life king had no lives left.
Alucard got Dioned!
Boomstick, you tell the worst puns in the world.
That's right, and you're just gonna have to deal with it. And hey, wait a minute, that was a pun. That's my territory. We talked about this.
The winner is Dio.
Okay.
Thank you guys so much for watching the show. We really hope
That was
you enjoyed this
awesome.
episode of Death Battle. If you're looking for something else to watch right now, just click the box on the screen and check out Red vs. Blue Family Shatters, where the Red vs. Blue Zero.
All right, what's
gets up to
next?
All sorts of
One of-
wacky antics. It's
one of
really
a few
fun
different
watching the world
possibilities.
that'll also work on this show, so give it a watch. Thanks.
Oh. Okay, so we're doing this one next. And hey, look, it's Shao Kahn. As if that was ever going to be a surprise. Yeah, so, Akuma versus Shao Kahn. That's the next one. Okay, so I thought... Part of me was thinking that it was something else. Based on the teaser, but... Oh, I won't go into that. Okay, so, hey, look! Like I said, it's Shao Kahn. As if it was ever going to be anybody else. Like, seriously. The amount of people I saw saying, like, it's not going to be Shao Kahn, y'all are pessimistic. It's like, people are saying this matchup is bad. People saying, like, I want it to be Rao from Fist of the North Star. And I admit, that probably would have been a cool fight, but, like, there was no way it wasn't going to be Shao Kahn. No way. Well, I have that guy over there to, kind of show my support. Maybe I should get an Akuma figure. Does anybody know a good Akuma figure out there? Anyways, I'm just gonna get this out of the way. Shao Kahn wins. He so wins. Holy crap, does he win? Kahn is just a little bit more powerful than Akuma. Just a teensy-weensy little bit. Yeah, I don't see that working in Akuma's favor, but it's cool that they're coming. It's cool that both of them are coming back at all. Haven't seen Akuma since the second episode, so that's something. And Shao Kahn was in the second episode of the second season. So yeah, we haven't seen these guys in a bit, so it's cool that they're back. And I think it's a fine matchup, and it's gonna be a good episode. Like, I struggle to see that not being anything good. And speaking of struggling not to see anything good, holy crap, this fight is great. I like this fight a lot. And hey, I called it. I was right. Dio wins. Go me. I'm already imagining the casual audience, the YouTube and Twitter audience being like, well, you know how YouTube comments can be. So yeah. And man, I like that fight a lot. The hand-drawn stuff, the way they incorporate Dio's, I guess, complete form. The way they handle the world, the time stop. I'm glad we saw only, like, I think one instance of the time stop through Dio's perspective. That was pretty cool. The blood running through the city, that looked so good. That looked amazing. And I mean, I'm somewhat disappointed that the zombies were just like Marvel vs. Capcom zombies and not like designed to be specific Hellsing characters. Like, how funny would it have been if Luke Valentine had showed up? Considering that both he and Dio share the same voice actor. But I'll live. It's not really something I am bothered by. It's just personal. It just would have been cool. But it's whatever. It's the same thing I said with Batman versus Iron Man. Like, yeah, it would have been cool to see more of their suits, but budget, they would have required a bunch of different custom sprites. It's the same thing here, so it's whatever. And I also love the effect they put on Alucard's voice as he was transforming. That sounded pretty good. And also the voice actors, great job. But yeah, this is a fight I'm definitely gonna be coming back to. That was amazing. That was a really good fight. I like that fight a lot. And I look forward to Akuma versus Shao Kahn. I think that should give you an indication of where I'm going with. But yeah. So I think that's all I have to say. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll talk to you all in the next video. Bye, everybody.